Hey, welcome to Friday Focus, January 29th, 2016. I'm going to talk to you about something you probably haven't heard of before. This is something that's been studied for about the past 10 years, and is changing our understanding about obesity and potentially our treatment of obesity. I've been kind of hinting at it for a while with the patients in the room and the staff, and I want to explain it to you so you understand why we're kind of going in this direction. First off, obesity is a massive problem. In 1980, 15% of adults were considered obese, which means their BMI was over 30, 15%. And in 2010, it is 35%. It's gone up by over double. Obesity rates are climbing extraordinarily. And it's the highest in the richest countries. Poor countries have low rates of obesity, and you might think it's because they're not eating much because they're poor, but it's really not that. We have access to foods that we shouldn't be eating, and maybe there's something else. So let's talk about obesity and causes. You can imagine your causes could be your lifestyle, so diet and exercise. So we have obviously access to more fast food than we ever had before.
When America's looking for something exciting to eat, America heads for Taco Bell.
When I was a kid, after swimming class, I go to McDonald's and we get 16 years old and get a quarter pounder. One generation later, we have double quarter pounders. The fries are huge by comparison. So we're eating more. There's a fast food court in every corner. When I was a kid, we went out to dinner once a month or so. It wasn't that common because they weren't available. It's not like we didn't like to go out to dinner. It's just that there wasn't much of places. Exercise, 50, 100 years ago, we were walking more, riding bikes, and now we're, not even changing the channel. I remember when we got our first TV, it came with a remote. It was an extra $25. And I didn't want the remote because I thought I can get up and change it. There's only 3 channels, so things have obviously changed. So our diet and exercise has certainly changed and led to some obesity. How about things you can't control? How about genetics? Now there's certain genetic conditions, such as Prader-Willi syndrome and other genetic conditions where people are predisposed to really store fat. There's different, say, leptin deficiency syndromes of receptors, and there's different obesity-related protein problems. Scientists are working on ways to correct those, but that leads to obesity. And you don't have much choice other than substantially change in this part because you're stuck with this. But there's a third one. The third one you probably haven't heard of before, and this is going to be the first time you've heard about it. If you look it up online or you go to look at scientific research, it's actually been studied pretty extensively, but nobody's talking about it yet because there's sort of not a good understanding of what to do about it. What do you do about the third thing? So the third thing is maybe somewhere we can impact our patients' lives, and we can learn what it is and how to control it. So I'm going to change gears a little bit and talk about something called symbiosis. If you went to high school biology, you learned about symbiosis. Now you've heard of different relationships. There's predator-prey, and that's where a hawk comes down on a little mouse and eats it. That's one relationship. And then there's competition. So for example, if the deer eat all the grass in the area, then some other animal eats grass can't eat. So competition where animals compete for the same food source. Predator-prey relationships occur when, say, an animal eats another animal. That's, you're kind of sucks if you're the other animal. And then there's symbiosis, where both animals benefit. They get some kind of energy benefit. An example might be an alligator that keeps its mouth open and a bird flies in and eats the food out of its teeth. Now the alligator knows that the bird doesn't eat the food out of its teeth. It's going to get fungus growing and tooth decay and lose its teeth, and it'll die from starvation. And the bird knows it has a good source of food just eating out of the alligator's teeth. It sounds kind of gross, but that's what they eat. So for energy relationships, those are the 3. We can compete. We've got predator-prey where you eat somebody, like if we shoot a deer and eat it. And then symbiosis. So I'm going to talk about a symbiosis relationship that you probably weren't even aware of. So you're a living organism. You might think, I'm me. I've got my own genetic code, and it's just me. Well, there's one of you, and on your body, somewhere, there's 1 trillion. Say 1,000, million, billion, trillion. It's not 1 trillion, there's trillions of microbes, of bacteria in your body. And it might sound kind of gross, but we need them on our skin or we might get opportunistic infections. If you're living in a bubble where there's no germs, you don't need any germs at all, you'd be fine. But if you sterilize your skin and kept it sterile right along, eventually some germ would break through and grow and cause potential infection. So our germs in our skin kind of protect us. They live in a check. When somebody gets like a vaginal yeast infection, because something altered, they took antibiotics or something, and the yeast got a chance to overgrow. In our gastrointestinal tract, our colon and our mouth and our small bowel, we've got tons of germs. In fact, tons of germs is a bad word. You have about 3 pounds of germs. You have 3 pounds of bacteria living in your gut. 3 pounds. Okay? So to give you an idea, if that was 3 pounds of fat, it'd be 1.5 quarts of fat. Okay? So 3 pounds of bacteria living in your gut, and that's, that's where they are. When you go to the bathroom, when you poop, about 50% of the fecal matter is bacteria. Probably most of them are dead. They could be alive, but it's bacteria. That's why it's gross. It's germs. You're not supposed to touch it. So you're loaded with germs. And the genetic code of the bacteria way outnumber our own genetic code. We have like 23,000 genes, and if you count all the hundreds of bacterial lines together, they represent over 1 million genetic sequences. Okay, so actually, we're a living organism that's got multiple organisms in us. And we're going to talk about these bacteria and the symbiotic relationship and how this keys into obesity. Okay, how the bacteria in your gut determine whether somebody is obese or thin, along with other factors. Okay, now there's hundreds of bacteria in your bowel. And I'm not going to talk about pregnancy or babies because they have a little bit different, or the elderly, they have a little bit different. They change at those 2 times in life, pregnancy, babies, and when we become elderly. But most of your adult life and your childhood life, there's 2. There's Bacteroides, and there's Formatices. So for practical purposes, we'll call B bacteria and F bacteria. These 2 bacteria are the dominant energy alternators in your body. So you've got a bunch of bacteria in your body. If anybody's ever heard of somebody having an antibiotic-related stomach problem, like a colitis, they call it toxic colitis or Clostridium difficile. That's from a germ called Clostridium that overgrows. But in general, there's very few Clostridium in your bowel. There's can be some lactobacilli in your bowel, but they're not the dominant species in terms of energy metabolism. These 2 are, the B and the F. And interestingly, throughout a lot of the animal kingdom, it's the same bacteria that determine whether or not we store food or burn it. And also, we need those bacteria to survive because there's a lot of minerals we can't digest without the bacteria. There's certain foods that we need the bacteria to kind of process for us. Certain grains and fibers we can't really digest without the bacteria sort of breaking them down for us, and then we digest. So it is a symbiotic relationship. But sometimes it's a little bit too much in favor of us, like we get more energy than the bacteria do. And that's where obesity comes in. I'm going to talk to you about a different creature. So they did studies with mice, and mice have a similar stomach tract makeup that we do. They have B's and F's. In group 1 mouse, they had it born more or less in a lab. So the mouse was kept more or less in a bubble. So it was germ-free, had no germs in its body. And they fed it high-fat diet. They fed it a high-calorie diet. Then they had another group of mice that were born normally. They had germs in their bowel. And they fed it the same high-fat diet, and the mice got big. They got big, almost like walruses it looks like. And so the high-fat diet mouse got big. But the ones that were germ-free never really gained energy. They never really stored the energy because the bacteria were not giving them the calories. They weren't breaking the food down. So then they took the poop from this mouse and transplanted it into this mouse. Okay? Then this mouse started getting fat. The mouse got obese. Then they took another experiment where they took germ-free mice, fat mice, and skinny mice. The skinny mice were eating food that mice should eat. It didn't make them fat. And the fat mice, they were basically feeding them table scraps. And then they had a germ-free mouse. They would take the poop from the skinny mouse and put it into the germ-free mouse, and it stays skinny no matter how much they fed it. And again, they take the poop from the skinny mouse and put it in the fat mouse, and the fat mouse would get skinny. And vice versa. They take the poop out of the fat mouse, skinny mouse gets fat. Now, they tried these experiments in humans, actually poop transplants. This occurs for different conditions. Doesn't seem to work. They're certainly working on that. Maybe we need to give enough probiotics of a certain type. Maybe you need to take a certain antibiotic to kill off certain ones. But the reality is the ratio of the B to the F determines whether or not a mouse or a human gets fat. So in the fat mouse, it had a low B and a high F. Okay? This is a fat mouse. So high F means fat. And the skinny mice had high B and low fat, low F. So let's call B burn. And what happens in your digestive tract is that when you eat foods, your bacteria have to kind of ferment it or break it down so you can absorb it. There's different things like oligosaccharides and free fatty acids and butyrates and different things that foods get broken down into so it can pass through our gastrointestinal tract so we can store it as energy. But the ratio of B to F, bacteria, determine whether or not we become energy stores or energy burners. And it doesn't show up in your metabolism because you are not burning the energy. So if you have a lot of B and don't have much F germs, if your dominant player is B, the germs are actually burning a lot of calories doing the work of digesting your food. And if you have a lot of the F germs, they're very effective at breaking food down and pushing it through your colon and getting you fat. Okay? So your ratio of B to F determines whether or not you are fat or skinny. Now, there's obviously other causes. You know, if you have this great B to F ratio, great burn to fat bacteria ratio, and you just eat a bunch of McDonald's, eventually you're going to probably change that grouping around from B to F to B, and you get fat. But as long as you stay high B, low F, you won't get fat, okay? Because the bacteria will just eat the excess calories. So how does this affect us? What can we do about it? So let's go over this again. If your B is greater than your F, bacteria, you're lean. Not skinny, you'll just be a normal weight. What will happen is any excess calories, the bacteria will eat them up. And if your F is greater than your B, you'll get fat. And there's ways around that. You get extremely fast and that can turn around, but actually it's more complicated than that. If you have a high ratio of burning bacteria versus fat, let's say it's very high, ratio's high, you got a lot of B's, and you start eating McDonald's every day, your ratio will turn to FB because you've starved these organisms of the food they need to survive because it doesn't occur in McDonald's. McDonald's does not have the food necessary for B to live. Okay, so I want to say that again. B to F ratio is good. That's what makes you lean. But if you eat McDonald's every day, you will starve B out, they'll die, and F will grow. Okay, then you'll start storing fat. So you can do it for like on a weekend, have a McDonald's, not gonna hurt you if you have a high B to F ratio. But you start eating McDonald's for a month or two, that's gone. You basically killed off your B's. How about what can you do if you're obese? You're obese and now you have a high F to B ratio. Okay, that's what we see in obese people. They have a high F to B. Well, you feed this germ. Right now you're feeding this germ. And this germ feeds on oil, particularly animal oils. It feeds on simple sugars and carbohydrates, and even feeds on aspartame and sweeteners. So if you're drinking Diet Coke or Diet Pop, you are feeding your F. And we used to think that Diet Coke made you fat because of the fact that it stimulates your appetite and makes you hunger sweets. Turns out that's wrong. It grows your germs that makes you want to store calories. So when you drink a Diet Coke with something, what you're doing, you're growing these fat storage bacteria. So then when you eat healthy food, you actually are storing most of the calories. So how do you increase your B? You got to feed the B the food that it wants. And B, bacteria, these are the good ones. Okay? B bacteria survive on soluble, fermentable, fiber. Okay? If you eat soluble, fermentable fiber, your F will die and your B will grow. So what is a soluble, fermentable fiber? Well, let's take wheat. If anybody's been with me in a consult and they wonder if I'm going to tell you wheat is that one that's grows you know that's not right. Wheat is 90% insoluble. So wheat will not feed your bees. They'll feed your Fs, okay? It's something very simple. And the reason I'm pushing the green drinks, the green smoothies, is because it's plant-based fibers. It's plants. Like oatmeal, 50%, but plants, that's what you need to eat to grow your bee. So the green shakes that we've been talking about, the green smoothies, with the food that we put on the list, those are the foods that grow your bee bacteria and make your Fs die. So if you're obese and you walk to a room in the consult with me, you hear me telling the patient, the first thing I want you to do is start drinking the green smoothies. And the reason I tell them that, I can't have this 20-minute lecture with them. I got 100 patients to see today. But I know if they just do that, they don't need to know the science behind it. They'll start slowly changing their bacteria over. In fact, you'll hear me talk to people that are going to get Combi-Tuck in 6 months. I'll say, I want you to start drinking the green smoothies every day. Because I want them to grow their bee bacteria and kill off their Fs. And that way, over time, by the time they come to us, it looks like we did like a miracle job because they start dropping the weight off, okay? Now, you've heard people say when I drink the green smoothies, you hear your coworkers say, my skin looks better, I feel better. Well, let's talk about what happens. When the F bacteria, which is, let's say it's for fat, break down the foods that it likes to eat, it gives you toxins. And it's called genotoxins, endotoxins, and immunotoxins. So it gives actually toxins. So the F bacteria eat your food and it spills toxins into your body. Okay, so when you're eating McDonald's, not just as this stuff with the non-GMO or whatever you're worried about and all that sugar and fat, what you're doing is you're actually growing toxins. And that's why your skin looks worse and you start to feel bad and you get sluggish and you feel lousy because you're eating foods, you're feeding your bacteria before you. So your bacteria get fed before you do. They eat what they need out of it, which is very little calories, and then they give you toxins, okay? Whereas if you eat the foods that the bees like to eat, okay, they are very inefficient. They burn a lot of calories. So the bee bacteria burn a lot of energy, and you wouldn't notice it by checking your metabolism because it's bacteria that are anaerobic. They're not breathing out oxygen. They're just like they have no oxygen at all. But they're breathing it, and they're breaking the fiber from plants down, and they're giving you anti-inflammatories. Two M's there. So the bee bacteria eat your food, they burn a lot of calories, and they give you anti-inflammatories. And the F bacteria like fats and oils and meats and sugars and aspartame and sweeteners, and they break the food down, burn very little calories, and give you poison. They give you toxins. That's why they call it toxins and poison, the same damn thing. Okay? So when you're eating a pizza with some sausage and cheese and bread on it, you are growing F bacteria. Okay? And if you continue to eat pizza every day, you eventually will have very little B, you'll have a bunch of F and other undesirable species of bacteria that can eat that stuff up too, and you'll kill off all your F. And if you eat the 2 green smoothies a day, eat a lot more vegetables, cut down on the meat, cut down on milk. Milk's the worst one for the Fs. Then you will be lean. So you'll grow your bees. And your bees will grow. And then if you cheat a bit, it won't really matter because you've got this high metabolism organism living in your body. It might sound gross, but they're living in you. They're on your skin, they're in your eyes, on your fingernails, they're in your nose, in your airway, and they're in your gastrointestinal tract. Most of our hollow organs in our body have bacteria, with the exception of, say, your urine tract. So the bees are fed by plants, and the Fs are fed by kind of everything else. Plants, legumes, the wheat and most grains don't really feed the bees, but they're probably a little bit neutral on the Fs. So it's just an unnecessary calorie. But if you feed your bee germs, you will increase your calorie burn. And it doesn't make you cachectic or really anorexic. It just means it makes you normal weight. So they stay in balance. So as you eat less food, when you eat less food, let's say just fasting. What happens when you just fast? We're not sure why, but when you fast, your B increases, which doesn't make sense because they burn so many calories, and your F decreases. So fasting seems to get rid of F. They seem to be very sensitive to any loss of calories and they die. But the ones that burn a lot of calories seem to be just fine resting and not doing anything. So if you fast, you can drop your F and raise your B. If you eat plant proteins, you can drop your F and raise your B. And if you eat the foods I've been preaching not to eat for the past several years, you will increase your fat-burning bacteria. You will get more anti-inflammatories into your body, more minerals and vitamins. You will reduce the toxins in your body. And unequivocally, without a doubt, these bacteria are linked to diabetes and inflammation. Okay? You've got these in your body, you're going to get diabetes at a much higher rate than if you have these in your body, which basically doesn't occur for non-insulin diabetes. So we've talked about the many reasons in the past why you should be eating more plants and less of the Western Americanized diet. And people don't want to hear this. They come in and they go, well, I'd like to get this Orbera procedure done, or I want to get a tummy tuck done, but I don't want to give up my pizzas and my garbage food and my snacking. Then welcome to America. You're going to look like an American. You want to eat like an American? You're going to look like one. You're going to look like one where 35% of us are like 60 pounds overweight. So if you want to eat like an American, you want to go to the restaurant, choose the best thing in the menu, you want to go to a gastropub, I mean, that's disgusting what they serve. Okay? They serve food that feeds your F germ. You should be looking at the menu and finding foods that feed your B germ. And you don't have to be like totally religious about it. But if you drink a couple green smoothies a day, that's more vegetables, and it's like 5 servings of vegetables times 10 servings of vegetables. That's a pretty good start. Okay? Then start cutting down on your portions of meat, getting leaner meats, eating smaller calories, smaller portions, cutting down on the sugars, cutting milk out altogether. Milk definitely grows the bad germs. Milk is obviously not designed for human beings. The cow's milk was designed to make a calf turn into a cow. And I cannot believe people are condensing the stuff that turns calves into cows and making it into protein powder, which is obviously horrible for you. Okay? So the take-home message of today's Friday Focus is grow your B bacteria if you want to be lean and healthy, and grow your F bacteria. I'm sorry, decrease your F bacteria. And if you see somebody who eats whatever they want to and they never gain weight, they typically, for whatever reason, have a lot of these Bs. And even though their diet is not supporting them, they hang on to them. So genetically, they just kind of hang on to those germs. Because when we measure their metabolism, it's kind of normal. So how are they able to eat all this food? Well, for some reason, those people just are predisposed to have a lot of Bs. But most of us have a mixture of these two, and we could grow whichever one we want to. Do you want to grow your B germs or your F germs? You want to grow your F germs? Eat like an American. Go to the fast food around here. Eat the junk. If you want to grow your B germs, eat the food that we're buying you. Do the smoothies. Get vegetables, cut down your meat, and realize the fact that you cannot eat the American or Western diet and not look like an American. So that's the Friday Focus. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's your germs that are going to kill you. Thank you.